Hello friends, Jennifer Pearson here, Thistle Gypsy. Before I get started, I do have Rufus in the room, my German Shepherd, and if he gets restless I may have to open the door or goodness knows, hopefully, but he's just been laying under the table, so I'm going to hope that he continues to just lay under the table. So this is Ancestor number 3. And this will be, I've got more than enough. 3 is more than enough ancestors to explore at one time. And actually, let me start out by, and I don't know if I'll do a separate video and just tag it on the end of Ancestor 2, but I was really confused by what was going on with Ancestor 2 in terms of the messages. Seemed really confused about their experience with the situation and then the advice for me. And in the end, I think that part of what was going on there was that I was being given information about that person's history with other people in the family, and that being a reason for their choices in life. Not 100% on that, but just, oddly, after like ending the video and I was packing up the cards, I'd already made notes on them. And I thought, you know what? I'm pretty sure this is what this is about. But here we are with number 3. Ancestor number 3, and I'm not going to go into a long explanation of where this comes from, but in brief, I did a spread asking why I would want an ancestor mentor, and this came up as, I feel like a mentor, an ancestor mentor that has this experience as a part of their life, a prominent part of their life, and wanting to help me with it, in particular in regard to this, which I take as overwork. So what I wanted to do was get a better feel for these ancestors, and so I pulled some cards, Shaman's Oracle card, to get a better feel for what that ancestor wants to help me with, and then cards from the Archetype cards by Carolyn Meese to just get a feel for that person's personality, who that person was or is. Then I pulled a set of cards that are about the ancestors' experience with the situation that they're wanting to help me with, and then their advice for my situation is up here. So let's learn about this ancestor. So we have the spirit of initiation. The spirit of initiation. So I'm going to look. There it is. I am the spirit of initiation. With me at your side, you will begin to understand the mysteries and wonders that surround us all at every moment of our lives. I may initiate you into many new experiences, but above all, I can show you how to find truth and wisdom which will help you to overcome most of the problems that may beset you. There is a point beyond which all who seek the path of enlightenment must travel, and this I can show you whenever you are ready. So I do think of this card often as the go find yourself card, and it actually turns up again right in the advice card. So the spirit of initiation. Initiation opens doors between different states of reality. And I think when I look at the cards for the advice, I think it has to do with balancing the states of reality that we create for ourselves. You know, to do some of this and some of this, to balance these two. But let's read on here. For the shaman, initiation was an introduction to the realm of spirit where he or she would conduct their work. Receiving from otherworldly guides instruction in the work of healing and inquiry undertaken on behalf of the tribe. Initiation could take many forms, but usually included entering into a trance state in which the initiate received the approval of all beings of the inner world. This experience of being guided by otherworldly beings can still be ours today if we learn from the spirit of initiation. Wow, that's really interesting and takes things in a different direction. Kind of. So now I see this as like the gathering of resources in order to facilitate this journey. If it's like becoming a shaman, because I've had that suggested to me more than once. Not because I think I have any particular healing ability, so much as I seem to have a facility with the state of mind, the shamanic state of mind, and because I need healing. So I need to heal myself. So some keywords are awareness, strength, enlightenment, the gift of vision, the path of transcendence, access to inner wisdom, and welcoming transformation. So, interesting. I'm not sure how literally to take that, or if it's just sort of take it more generally as the, spirit of initiation. So these are the 3 cards that talk about the character of this person. Actually, it was the servant that popped out. Let's make the servant first. So, delight in serving others with a free and loving heart. So that's part of it has nothing to do with me. It's the ancestor had that attribute. So maybe I can learn from that person's generosity. Child wounded. Awakens compassion and desire to serve other wounded children. Opens the learning path of forgiveness. So, they say shamans and others are wounded healers. So maybe this person was a wounded healer. And if they were wounded as a child by parental situations, then mediator is a super obvious. I mean, these really go together with somebody who had a dysfunctional family. It just totally does. You become with servant. You become the servant of your parents instead of them serving you. You receive wounds because you're not nourished properly, and then you become a mediator. It all spells dysfunctional family background. But that also makes them really good mediators, right? Gift for negotiating fairness and strategy in personal and professional life. Respect for both sides of an argument. So being able to see both sides of things. So that's the ancestor that I'm dealing with. So let's move on and take a look. And I have no idea, like in Ancestor 2, a little bit in Ancestor 1, but in Ancestor 2 I was really trying to like pinpoint which ancestor it was because I felt like I was so close and then got all mixed up. This one I have no idea who this would be. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know anything really about my grandmother on my father's side. I could see her. She had the servant spirit. I don't know that she was ever a mediator though. And I don't know much about her family growing up to say whether or not she would be a wounded child. I don't know. All right, so these cards are going to tell me about and I think that she's not an Eight of Cups. I don't know. I don't think she ever had that experience. She was very, locked into the family because of that servant role. Very locked into the family. So I don't think she ever escaped it, and I don't know that she ever wanted to escape it. To be honest, I honestly don't know. So this is the experience that this ancestor mentor has had that makes them, well, helps them to understand my position and makes them want to help. And so the Two of Clouds, this is the Majestic Earth Tarot, is interesting in this deck because it shows, looks like a crow and maybe a seagull or a dove. It's really hard to make out. This might be the dove gathering the olive branch to take to Noah. This might be referring to that. Keywords down at the bottom say equilibrium, similar to kind of mediator, ruminate, dichotomy, barrier. So, so equilibrium and ruminate sound like actually upright meanings, and dichotomy or barrier maybe reversed meanings. But in any case, you've got a black bird and a white bird. And so I just feel like, the Two of Swords is about choosing between two different things. And, we have the mediator card, which is attempting to find the middle ground. And, yeah. So I feel like this might be, again, Eight of Cups, kind of finding yourself, maybe choosing between two different paths. So this person may have had that experience, and that turned up with Ancestor 1 as well. Well, I suppose we all go through that in our lifetimes, right? Having to choose between two different paths. And so we have the Two of Clouds as part of the experience. And then upturned, this would be the Tower, or excuse me, the Hanged Man in this particular deck. Maybe it should have been overturned or capsized, but it looks like it's turning itself right again in this particular picture, even though it's totally swamped. And in a bad position for the next wave, that's for sure. And the keywords at the bottom are surrender, lifeline, submerge, and sacrifice. So I get the feeling that somebody had to, I think it's sacrifice. They were making a decision and had to sacrifice their, again, you've got the servant here, had to sacrifice maybe their own development or growth for those that they were serving. And then we have the Chariot. And over here we have release. And so I think that that's kind of what's going on. Again, it's kind of the advice. It's like sacrifice and then pursuing. So to come up with a rhythm for these things, I feel like is what this is, the experience that this ancestor had and that they're trying to encourage me to come up with. So then we have the Chariot, which is ambition, triumph, momentum, and control. So again, sometimes serving others and being swamped by serving others, and then, the victory ride, or, being able to move forward, being released and able to move forward. It could also be, it's the Chariot, not the Six of Wands, but this is like a victory procession here, or somebody being lauded. So it could be that this person was lauded for their sacrifice. It could be, or in an active service, sacrifice, service is sacrifice. They were recognized. They became triumphant through the act of service or sacrifice. And then we have these cards from the Sacred Path cards. So I'm not sure what usable energy is about, the thunder beings. I might have to consult the book for a second, but this decisions with the council fire to me means decisions that serve the whole. So you can go to the council fire with your individual questions. But what you're asking is, you're asking the elders of the community who may have your best interests at heart, but also would have the best interests of the community. So I think that this goes again with the sacrifice or servant aspect here of trying to decide maybe how to use the energy in the best way possible and consulting others about that. And then this card being the giveaway. And this can again be giveaway. Usually there's a giveaway community aspect to the giveaway, but could also be spiritual. And the word release to me indicates that this person, this very giving person, found freedom or release in the act of giving. So that's really interesting. So let me look up this 36. I'm going to look into all of these things more closely, but after the camera is not rolling anymore. So here they are. The Thunder Beings is telling you that you are a catalyzer. and may now command the usable energy at hand. You are being funded with the energy needed to complete any task you have in mind. So I feel like this person maybe just flat out physiologically, here it even says your body is a lightning rod and will conduct all the energy that you need. This was a person with a lot of vitality, maybe so much vitality that they didn't know what to do with it, and they channeled it into service. I'm going to look up the release also. 43. Oh, it's going to be way in the back. Yep. So it says the giveaway card spells relief through release. Don't get stuck holding on to anything that no longer serves you. Associates, ideas, habits, and belongings may need to go at this time. Attachment to attitudes like needing to be needed or liked may no longer serve either. You are being asked to share what you can, give away something that can help someone else, or just let go. Don't hold on so tight. I feel like that might be kind of that person's lesson through the lifetime, but so really curious and quite an admirable, I feel like quite an admirable person. Not to cast shade on the other two ancestors, but this one really seems the most kind of spiritually motivated. So the next set of cards are, I'm just going to move these ones out of the way, and bring down this ancestor's advice for me. And so what we first have is the Eight of Clouds, which is the Eight of Swords, which is vulnerable, crisis, abandoned, exposure. So I feel like the advice is for these moments that I have. Stuckness. Crisis might be too, well, I've had some work crises, and my work is not crisis oriented, so I don't work in an emergency room, but some situations, some major fails. And you know, there are just aspects about my life that are like that. You know, it's the Lyme disease. So, in other words, when this sort of situation occurs, I think about both of these things. I'm going to show each card individually, but I think these two are twins, and they're both, well, they're all 3 8s. All 3 of them are 8s. We're missing the 8 of Wands, but they're all 8s. So it's about stability. And so this is the 8 of Stone. So working, productivity, labor, handiwork, or craft. And then the 8 of Cups, which is how this ancestor turned up initially. And so it is walking away, new course, discontinue, and humility. What I feel is going on here is that again, there's advice that says when this is happening, or maybe this happens because I'm not balancing these two things, that I need to come up with a better balance between work and rejuvenation. And I don't think this is just rest. I think this is like soul rejuvenation. It's like this is activity in the physical, concrete world. And it's like when you get too much in your head with the clouds, you need this balance, nurturing and rejuvenation that comes from nurturing and from escaping, but not escaping into my head, escaping into the world and what the world has to offer. The spiritual aspect of taking a walk in a beautiful forest. So, and there's zero doubt in my mind that this is what I'm missing. And it's hard to find a balance when, the standard is a 40-hour work week and you've got Lyme disease. So, but this is still part of it, the Eight of Pentacles. And the Eight of Pentacles is not creative in nature. It's kind of, it's building blocks. In this particular, it's creating building blocks. And I can see this as being true. I think this is some really good advice from this person. That it's helpful for me to, part of what I need is stress-free work, labor, the thing I'm being compensated for in terms of money. And certainly I have creative aspects to my personality, etc. But I need to be doing something that I can do, for one, and that doesn't cause a lot of stress, and that I don't end up thinking about later in the day. When it's done, it's done. So really interesting. And there could be other meanings to this. This is just how I'm interpreting it at the moment. And then these cards, which I think are showing something similar. You've got Hour of Power and then Sacred Space. I would say this is more fun. This is more like the Chariot than the Eight of Pentacles, but still. Time when you can function, and then the sacred space for renewal. And what is this? Death and rebirth. So it's all about getting the cycles right. Getting these cycles right. It showed up right here. Getting these cycles right. Really, it's about maybe not going quite that far. Don't do a 10 of Pentacles, or a 10 of Wands, do an 8 of Pentacles. All right. I don't really feel like I need to read anymore on these. Death and rebirth. I don't think that death is necessarily exhaustion, but since this ancestor seemed to be a lot about sacrifice, it might be, sacrifice and then doing something more spiritual for yourself, or sacrifice and renewal. And then I will look at ritual of joy and respect, but the Eight of Pentacles is kind of like a ritual. It shows that you're doing the same thing over and over and over again. And so just finding one that provides joy. And so yeah, I don't know that I need to add to that. And then sacred space is gratitude, but but renewal, it's not that unlike the giveaway card. So let me see here. Oh, and I turned right to Sacred Space, so I'll read that one first. And this is a really thick book, but I'm just going to read the small section at the back. The Sacred Space card insists on respect for the possessions, ideas, homes, and persons of others. This also applies to demanding it for the self. Mark your territory. Respect yourself so that others will see that reflection in themselves and in how they deal with you. Be willing to say no. So maybe this leads to this. Sacred space means that you consider your body, feelings, and possessions sacred and will not allow others to abuse them. Only invite those who have earned the right into your sacred space. You are the one who sets up how other people treat you through how you treat yourself. In all cases, the respect you show yourself and other life forms determines how you relate to the planetary family. I think that I've already said what there is to say on that. It just seems to kind of repeat it in different ways. And I've got things kind of in a sequence here, don't I? 41, 42, 44. The Hour of Power speaks of rituals of joy. No matter what your present situation, you are being asked to do what gives your heart the greatest joy. Drop any activity that is taxing and focus on connecting to the earth and being fed with the energy you need to maintain happiness. This card signals the zero-rest balance point that will keep you from becoming out of harmony if you realign body, mind, and spirit by doing something that gives you joy. This little happiness break is what will keep you from breaking apart if you were stressed out. I will definitely be coming back to this. And I will probably be doing further pulls around that. And then, and the other card, the giveaway ceremony was right here. So the other person's experience would have been this card right here. So I was going to look up the shaman's death and just see what it says there. In choosing the shaman's death card, you are being put on notice that a death cycle or ending is in progress. Before the rebirth can occur, the habit, attitude, relationship, or part of self that is dying must be looked at. Assist the process by consciously allowing the old to be removed, which I think was part, with the giveaway ceremony, was part of this person's past experience, the whole giving away. Let go and then make way for the new cycle of life to take hold. Remember that you are creating fertile ground for new adventures when you are willing to let your old identities die. And that is not the first time that I have been told to let an old identity die within the last couple of weeks. The rebirth cycle is always full of promise and growth when you allow the old patterns to die with dignity. All right, so there we go. There's Ancestor number 3. I have found these explorations really interesting and fully intend to explore them off camera further. Just reading some of these things more and thinking about them and journaling about them. So I could see this getting to know these ancestors and attempting to follow their advice lasting the rest of the year. At my pace, it will be the rest of the year. All right, everybody, thanks so much if you came along for the ride, especially if you came along for all of the ride. Um, Many thanks for witnessing kind of what I'm going through and what I'm exploring. And I will see you again soon. Take care. Bye bye.